We have with us Brandi, who is one of 4 candidates running for 2 open seats in Kill Devil Hills for the Board of Commissioners. What that means is the top 2 vote getters will get seats on the board. Our first question is an obvious one. You're potentially running against an incumbent, so you're asking the voters to replace a currently elected commissioner. What action or actions of the current board prompted you to run, and what would you do differently?
Well, Russ, I was obviously motivated to run because of the obvious disconnect between the current board and the citizens of Kill Devil Hills. And this is not based on any one issue like some people would think because of Lowe's, etc. But as they go through the meetings, I don't see them taking the wishes and the suggestions of the citizens into account. I don't see them taking the people that actually elected them into office into account. So I want to change that.
Okay. Well, let's talk about Lowe's. The board decision was to approve the application. How would you have handled the situation differently? And most important, do you feel the town would have prevailed in a lawsuit had they denied the application?
Lowe's was one of many big controversies, and I think that if it had been somewhat transparent from the start, that it would have been addressed earlier and not been blown out of proportion. I think that, for instance, I know that the board is not required to disclose to the planning board or to the staff for that matter that Lowe's may be the individual applying for something, but had this been done, something could have been addressed and things could have been more transparent from the beginning. And while it may have been a little more work on the onset for the current board, it could have alleviated a lot of the problems and the tensions that ensued from what happened.
Kill Devil Hills has put beach nourishment on the table. They've talked about it this year. Do you support this effort, and do you have any impressions from the early results from Nags Head's project?
Personally, I don't support beach nourishment. I'm from here. I've lived here most of my life, and I don't think beach nourishment is a good idea considering the cost and the amount of money and the risk involved. But as an elected official, I would have to consider the constituents and the people who voted me into office. And if the majority of the people there wanted to consider this as an option, we would have to look and see if there was a viable option there and if it was there. And also, since Nags Head has put this into play, it's also our duty to look and see, how this is going and where it is. The early signs are not super encouraging. They're not detrimental by any means, but right now, we've had one storm and it has washed away a great deal of the sand, but I'm not an expert on that, so we'll just have to wait and see.
Do you see any scenarios where property taxes might be raised in your term?
I'd love to be able to say no, but in all honesty, I'd have to say that there is one instance where there's a possibility with that, and it's based on a formula here in Dare County for shared revenue, and what that incorporates is that if any of the other incorporated towns within Dare County raise their taxes, then other incorporated towns have to also raise theirs in order to get a piece of the pie. So I can't say that wouldn't happen, and it probably won't again, because it happened in Nags Head last year with the beach nourishment, and so it's probably happened and maybe won't again, but I can't in all honesty say that it won't. I can say that if I were in office and that I had any choice about it, it would not be done without extensive budgetary workshops and a lot of education so that people would know what's going on. Again, that transparency makes a big difference with people being satisfied with what's going on and knowing what's going on versus being told afterwards this is what's going to happen.
Brandi, thanks for coming in and talking to the Voices viewers. And just to remind our viewers, this is Brandi Rheubottom, and she is running for one of 2 seats that will be at contest or will be contested in Kill Devil Hills for the Board of Commissioners.